Dun, 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 dun. It's Crypto Night in Canada, live from Vero Beach, Florida. And Candace is joining in her own Florida haven. We're assuming it's Miami Beach. So welcome to the sunny south, new day. How are you, Candace?
I am doing swell. How are you guys?
Good. You know what? I have to tell you, and then I'll say hi to everybody else in the chat. Well, we'll say hi now. Hi, everybody else in the chat. I see Marie Claude is in the house. That's awesome. When you're here, say hi. Oh, and look who else is joined us tonight. It's Ryan. Hi, Ryan, and he's in the office.
Yeah.
Not in front of his famous mirrors. No. Anyways, welcome everybody. Jordan's in the house. How are you? I have to tell you that I think I didn't realize how overtired, overworked, exhausted, and just run down I was until Tim started driving down here. So I left Ryan's place on Wednesday night, flew home to Ontario on Thursday. And we got up at 3 o'clock in the morning and started down the highway to Florida. We hit the road at about just before 6 o'clock, and
wait for it.
No. And I'll tell you, it is one of the most relaxing rides to drive down here. It's absolutely beautiful. And I slept off and on most of the way. Tim did all of the driving.
No. Nancy said after the second fill up, would you like me to drive? I said, sure. 6 interchanges. Guess who was back in the driver's seat?
Classic.
I said
I can't do this.
I said,
put on lane departure.
I said we should just tell people I was test driving your new car, and that I really wasn't participating in the driving down here. That's what we were saying. Anyways, it's a spectacular drive down here. I will say to anybody who hasn't done it, enjoy it. Take the time. We put the tunes on. Tim's a great driver, obviously, so I had no problems falling asleep. And I've been cooking him food all weeks to make up for it. So there you go. So we're having a marvelous time here.
Not so fun once you get into Georgia and get into Florida. So Jason, it's not so fun when you get into that crap.
Why?
Why, were you asleep again?
Yes. What happened?
It was shit. The traffic was crap.
Well, that's because it was Easter weekend. That doesn't mean it's going to be that way all the time, does it?
Did you get shot at? Because if you didn't get shot at, it was a good trip.
See?
Oh, West Virginia's an experience. I tell you.
What happened in West
Do you know what the
Virginia?
national flag is there?
What?
2 banjos.
Oh, Tim. Anyways, I see that the freaking Oracle's in the house, and Zach's
Sorry
here,
for
and
those in West
Sophie,
Virginia, I didn't mean that.
and AC Dats, and Mr. Red Taco. No, everybody's here tonight, and I think I missed somebody else. Jason's here. Anyways, I just want to say that this is our 1 year anniversary. We started it a year ago today doing live streams, not the channel, but live streams, and because this is our episode number 53, so it must be 1 year ago that we did this.
Terrific math skills, honey.
I know. Well,
And it's
Candace
just so
pointed that
appropriate
out.
that you left the country to do it.
We left the country to do it. Who knew? And you know what? It is like the pandemic does not exist down here.
No.
There isn't. I've seen the odd mask from time to time, and then you almost stare at that person like.
Yeah, we stopped at the Holiday Inn Express and we walked in with our masks and everyone was looking at us and I went, Rip.
Well, because there was a sign on the door that said masks are required, so we.
Optional.
No, it was right on there. They had it right at the front desk. You and I turned around and went back out, got our masks, and came back in, and then they all stared at us like, "Oh, look at the Canadians are here. They got their masks." But there was hardly any masks in Calgary either, so there you go. Anyways, let's I want to start by jumping
Well, hold on.
into-
Let me say this really quick because there's 26 freaking people here and only 4 likes. So before we dive into it, you all should smash the like button really quick. One person just did. Let's get more. And then, okay, Nancy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Oracle, you can go back to sleep now. I'm not going down that path again. Not in a million years,
Oh,
brother.
that's a terrible story you'll have to tell another
Yes, you
time.
know what? There's just sometimes you need
Why
to.
are you elbowing? You shouldn't have said anything then. Anyways, see, we're having a little banter going on here. We've been in each other's
What
company.
did you want to say before that?
No, I wanted to say that tonight, because there's a lot to talk about. A lot's going on in crypto, a lot's going on in the economy. And so I thought before we got too far down our usual stream of conversation, I would like to start off with our metaverse stuff, and we'll do that first and foremost so we don't have it as an afterthought. So, Candice, it's the metaverse brought to you by Mountain Finance.
Okay, welcome everybody once again to the metaverse. This week has been, well, not a super exciting week, but let's still get into it nonetheless. Number 10, same as last week, Decentraland, no movement. They're just holding on to the top. Moving up from 9 out of there is Mobox. We've seen Mobox before, and they're that cross-platform metaverse that you can use on all devices. And they were up 2.4%. And at number 8, we have not seen my neighbor Alice in a very long time, but Alice has made it back in, up 5.1. This is that farm-based game that Nancy was semi-interested in. And they should be actually launching a beta very soon. All right, up at number 7, they were number 1 last week, was Neo Credits. They were the ones who were up a crazy 50% last week, and this week they were still up 10%. So not a bad thing if you've been invested in this one. Number 6, we're seeing Phantasma, so Sol. They are originally back again. This is a 2-token economy with Sol and KCal. They give you the resources to create and publish your own games on Steam. So that's kind of cool. In at number 5, the Sandbox. Where have they been?
Yeah, where have they been?
I know, they were up 1.2%. The Sandbox, a lot of fun. I played it for a little bit on my Twitch stream. So if you had a chance to see that, it's a pretty cool little game. They're in an alpha right now, so they're moving towards a beta. Number 4 is V Empire de Deo. We've seen these guys before, actually 2 weeks ago. They were on very, very briefly. And they do a lot of the scholarship programs, which is where they pay people to help people in some of these different games. Things like Axie Infinity and other games like that. All right, number 3, we have VFox returning once again. And once again, this is a retail VR-based metaverse. They've got a lot of retail experience in it. Lots of different ways to make money on it. All right, number 2. And we've seen these guys before. This is almost like Old Home Week. It's Victoria VR. This is the very realistic one using Unreal Engine. The graphics in it are just fantastic. And the fact they were up 20.4% is pretty darn cool.
What's their game?
I don't know what the actual game looks like. I just know what the assets look like. I know it's more or less you can explore around land. You can buy land. You can invest in land. And you've got a lot of different assets. I think a lot of it is you've got really nice looking avatars. So, everything from clothes to whatever they're going to do. But it almost, from my initial look at it, I think it's almost sim-like. But I'd have to dig deeper into it to see if there's actually anything really interesting game-wise. All right. Our number 1 this week was number 3 last week. It's that Gensho Kishi Metaverse. So this is that one that has 3 different versions: the free-to-play, the UGC to earn, and the play to earn. Now, they were up 35%. So they had a really good week.
Wow.
All right. Let's move over to the stocks. There's not a lot of excitement this week. I hate to say it. I didn't actually have to make up a new sheet for anybody because nobody new managed to sneak in either group. But with the stocks, We do have, like I said, old home week. We have a lot of people returning. So Qualcomm has finally made it back to the top 7. They were up 3.62%. So it's always good. Matter of fact, these are not the only chip manufacturers you're going to see in the top 7 this week. Number 6, we have Amazon. They snuck back in. They've been off for a while, up 2.57%. What more can we really say about Amazon, though? That hasn't already been said. Apple, who's been hanging around at 7 for 2 weeks and then 6, has actually moved up to 5. They didn't move up very much, though. I mean, they were only up. You might as well say they didn't even go up at all. They were up 0.01. Number 4, we got Microsoft. Microsoft has moved back into the top 7, up 1.97%. Number 3, and here is the second of our chip manufacturers I was mentioning, Intel. They were up 3.77%. They have moved back in. It's good to see the chip manufacturers starting to recover because they've been through a bit of a rough ride lately. Number 2, which was our number 7 last week, was Equinox once again. And this is once again all about just the infrastructure of the metaverse. So I think they're going to be popular for a while based on there's going to be a huge need for their services. They were up 4.02%. And finally, our number 1 this week, Planet Labs, still hanging in. They were 3 last week. They were up an astonishing 11.46% when a lot of stocks were absolutely bleeding. These guys, like I said, fantastic. They have an amazing satellite network. They have the best imagery of the planet Earth that you can get. So definitely a huge valuable resource for the metaverse. And that is the metaverse story on this metaverse week, on this metaverse day.
I love it. Thank you, Candace. That was awesome. It's funny that metaverse was all in the, everywhere. Everywhere you looked, everybody was talking about it. And then just like everything else, it's like the NFTs were hot, and then they slow down. It's like this, everything just cycles back and forth and moves around. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. And but I don't think it's going anywhere just because it gets quiet. No. That's when developers are developing really
exactly. Quickly. That's when the stuff that the public doesn't see is going on behind the scenes. So.
Yeah. And then that, because you always said that about Facebook, was you don't just announce that you're going to change your name to Meta and not be doing something in the background. They're doing stuff in the background.
Absolutely. And that's where we're going to see some explosions down the road. Some of these companies are going to start releasing some of the stuff, or at least revealing what they're doing.
Yeah. This leads me into the topic of the night, which is XRP. And then we can move on to a free-for-all discussion. The reason that I bring up XRP is because obviously we hold a nice little bag of XRP, and so we're believers in the product. And we touched on it last week when I was at Ryan's place, and we talked a little bit about what's happening with that. And as they get closer and closer and closer to either a settlement or a ruling on the XRP stuff, I think you're going to see some real clarity and some real movement on this. This crypto, in my opinion, this is not financial advice, but in my opinion, I think it's undervalued. And even though we hold a large bag of it, we're actually talked about today about maybe buying more because we think that this price is really a steal right now. And so I wanted to kind of run through what XRP actually does and why it's going to be valuable in the future, because people don't really understand it. And it's, and I know they've equated a little bit to the Bitcoin's Lightning Network and what's the difference between the Lightning Network and XRP. So I did just a tiny bit, and this is a tiny bit of research. So we're not going to say I'm an expert on it in any way, shape, or form. But it's actually what it is, and I'm just going to pull up a little something here, is the key thing, the key piece with the Ripple program is what they call ODL, on-demand liquidity. And so on-demand liquidity means that it's going to be very, very fast for large financial institutions to transfer money between each entity, because this on-demand liquidity, which is what Ripple has developed, is what is the thing that they all covet. So I'm going to give you a little scenario that happened to a girlfriend of mine down here. She's from Canada, and she has had a place in Florida for about 40 years. They've been coming down here, and they've had a place down here. So she just sold it 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, and she's bought a new place a little further down in more of an adult 55 plus community. Anyways, and so the market's hot down here the same way as it is in Canada. And so to get into this 55 plus community, she knew where she wanted to be, and she knew which development, because they're all new builds and things, but they only release them in little bits, and they've got these huge waiting lists. So when you get a call that your unit is potentially available, they send it out to at least 10 people, and it's the first person that gets their paperwork and their deposit back that will seal the deal. So she gets the call, and she was waiting for it on pins and needles. The call comes in, she fills out the paperwork, she gets it all done and sent off immediately, and then she's got to get the money transferred down there. Now this is where it gets really interesting. So she's got a US dollar account in Canada, because TD Bank has a Canadian and a US. They've also got a US affiliate down here, but they don't really talk to each other. They have some privileges between. So she had to get the money from as quickly as she could, and she's got it in a US bank account, so she doesn't have to change it over, but it wouldn't talk to each other. And then it went on, they gave her 2 separate times to get her deposit to them. She couldn't get it done. They kept, well, it's going to hold this many days. She goes, you can't hold it that many days. So she's like trying to get her bank to transfer money down. And the whole reason that they do this is that they've got to hold it. So when you're wiring money across the world, you're doing any of these things, the banks have to wait until they will not release funds until they've got the money over and it's verifiable in their account. So here's what Ripple does that's different than anybody else. It's not the same as the Strike, the Lightning Network. It's an on-demand liquidity program. So it will allow for everybody to move their funds almost instantaneously, because they can verify through the blockchain that the money has been moved in there. So this is why all these big institutions are looking for clarity on this, and this will be used. It's currently being used already, but it will just be used in such a large way. And so last week when we were talking about Ripple, and Ryan, I think you brought it up and said, well, what do we think that we're going to be pulling money from someplace, another cryptocurrency? In fact, the more I researched it, the more I was like, no, this is definitely going to be a big financial institution play, because the money will come pouring in quickly to be able to capitalize on this on-demand liquidity. That's what's so special about this. So if you are still interested in finding a cryptocurrency that I believe is completely undervalued, and once they have regulatory clarity on this, and I think it's coming really soon, this would have solved my girlfriend's problem with her home transfer. There should have been no reason that took that long. When it's TD Bank, US funds, that should have just crossed over really quickly, and it did not. It took her almost 2 weeks to get that sorted out, and she almost lost her home deal because of it. That is ridiculous in this day and age, and that's where I'm saying that the real world use case for Ripple is massive. So I'm going to shush.
Well, can I back you up actually on this for 1 second? Because I just did a Google search for the only thing that I really care about. If we're going to talk about this stuff, it's TPS, or transactions per second, because I was looking into what the hell's the point of XRP when you have Lightning Network, yada, yada, yada. So I brought it back up just to get the exact number, but Lightning Network doesn't compare and will never compare no matter how hard they try. So just to let you guys know, so the Lightning Network transaction per second, Lightning's TPS is roughly 7 transactions per second, which is disgustingly low as compared to even Visa, whatever, right? It's low. XRP, The XRP network can handle up to 1,500 transactions per second. So XRP is obviously better suited in the long run for the financial sector, but that's something I learned. I just wanted to back you up on that, Nancy, because Lightning doesn't compare.
I appreciate that, Ryan, and I know that Candace, what's your opinion about XRP? Because you know a lot more. So I'm having hot flash time here. Anyways, Candace, what do you?
Well, I will say this: XRP became a little more interesting. I know last week I said I had my eyes on Ethereum because I was thinking about that update, and of course, then they went and canceled the update the day after. So it's like, oh yeah, well, we're still at this again. So no, I do like XRP. I just hate the whole fact that I don't know how long this whole legal hassle is going to go on with the SEC. Because I kind of like to have a clear exit picture, and with XRP there isn't one. That's the only downside. But the speed of transaction, and I think the actual use of XRP, I think is fantastic.
Well, but isn't it more about Ripple than it is XRP? Because like, what if XRP fails in the court and everyone who owns XRP loses, and then Ripple just creates a new coin that adheres to the regulations that were just put forth? Like, because
I'm not worried about that. I think, Candace, I'm like you. I'm unclear yet where this is going, except that. So Mark Lazarick, and I know he's busy tonight. I was going to get him to come on, but he was telling us that there's it's a legal term. They have to get to a certain point. In an X number of days since the court trial started. Otherwise, it goes up to a different entity, and almost like nobody wants it to go up there. Not even the SEC wants it to go up. I want to say a Supreme Court, or there's a new judge that gets implemented or something. And so Tim's probably messaging him, and we'll get an answer on that. Because Mark is heavily following this like crazy. So I get all my updates from him. But at the end of the day, it sounds like it can't go on too much longer. And there's already bits that are being like released on a regular basis that are in XRP's favor. So they will settle. But what would happen in turn is once there's regulatory clarity on this particular coin, it sets precedents for the rest, and then B, it's quite possible that they will try to then quickly, and this is why the XRP community thinks that they're going to settle, is because then quite quickly they're going to turn around and they're going to go and they're going to try and go after another coin. It could be Ethereum, but more likely Cardano.
Mm-hmm.
And then Strike and Bitcoin actually tried to get together and send some money down into El Salvador, and it was 2 to 8 hours per transaction.
Well, then there you go. So
yeah,
that solves that.
Yeah. Anyways, they're saying what I'm hearing, again, not financial advice, but once this settles and really takes off, they're saying that this could be a $10 to a $15 coin.
It's called the summary judgment.
Yeah, the summary judgment. So this could be a $10 to $15 coin, and then in the long run, be even more. Like it could be worth $44 a coin or $54 a coin. But in immediate, so we're sitting, holding out, waiting, hoping that it does this. At least $10 would be awesome for us. But we'll wait and see what ends up happening with it. But that's why I said it's still a good deal. It's still a good buy. And we were even talking about it this morning, going, if we believe it's such a good buy, maybe we should buy a little bit more. So we may add to our bag on that one. So Ken, do you have anything you want to add to that one? No.
Not really, other than the only way for that token's price to move up is everybody would have to buy into it. So
to Ken's point here, there is a bot that I track on Twitter that solely gauges and tracks comment feeds. Okay. So just basically to gauge the community effective, whatever, the size of the community, right? And I was listening to something the other day and it made me feel really freaking good about Ethereum and Solana. But Ethereum, Solana were the first two. Bitcoin was number 3. For the most talked about across the entire web that this thing crawls. And XRP was way at the frickin' back. And then that made total sense, though, because XRP's become a stable coin at like 78 cents or whatever, has done virtually nothing, but there's no more buyers, right? So it's kind of telling me that whoever's got XRP is not moving it. Obviously, they're not selling, but no one's coming to buy anyway. Because even if you weren't selling, but someone was coming to buy, that would instigate the price push up, right? So that's the only worry with XRP is that the community's tiny now, a little bit smaller.
Or it's the institutional money that will come in and buy it up, because once there's clarity, then you can hold it on your balance sheet. And
there's a Bitcoin ETF that just got accepted for Australia too. So things are rocking, things are rolling. But that was a good point by Ken. I just wanted to.
Yeah, the only thing that would do that, like you said, Nancy, would be it would have to have institutional funding to make it swing up to $10.
Because when you look at who's using, which customers are using Ripple right now, I'm just pulling that up, but here, hold this for a sec. I got my computer going on here. There's a lot of big exchanges using XRP right now. So let me just see if I can, I know it didn't.
Well, while you're looking that up, I think this might also be a good opportunity. If it really, really starts to look like XRP is going to win, it wouldn't hurt to jump in at that point, and then sell after all of the hype starts to die down, because I think you're going to see a massive pump. And then, of course, people will then sell and it'll head back down. And then if you're still got your full, if you still want to be in that coin, then buy back in once it's down.
Oh, this darn thing. Just one second.
That's right, Mr. Red Taco. When the institutions get into it, that they'll be buying it, right? And that anytime you buy it, that's what drives the price up.
So just to give you a couple of names: Bank of America, American Express,
Lots us out when you.
Azimo. We've got.
There's all kinds of stuff that we don't know. There's.
Sorry, locked you out pretty quick. I know CIBC uses this in Canada. For those of you that know CIBC,
They use the Ripple net.
A lot, like so many. iRemit. This is frustrating. Every time I go to click on it, it brings me up a join the network now. So there's some heavy users like American Express, Bank of America, CIBC. These are not little companies that are using it.
But if they're already using it,
but it's about adoption. Once it really fully comes in, they can use it. They just can't hold it on their balance sheet until the SEC is able to put regulatory clarity on it. So
we don't know to the degree they're using it as well. They may just, it may be a beta phase right within the bank.
Yeah, it could just be bank to bank right now.
Right. Here's one of the questions I would say is, why would American Express buy the coin when they can just use the network?
I bet you, because again, if you're using something, it's like, remember Warren Buffett? I know some of you are Buffett fans. Warren Buffett only bought companies, only held the companies of stocks that he used. He only held the stock. He bought Gillette because he said he shaves his face every day and the other half of the population shaves their legs. So he bought Gillette. He bought Coca-Cola because he likes that company. So when you use something, oftentimes you will invest in it, right?
Right.
So anyways.
Could be interesting. Could be very interesting.
Listen, it's a gamble. There's no question about it. It's a gamble that Tim and I are taking. It's an educated guess that this could do something once the SEC settles on it. And I know Mr. Red Taco was wondering what happens if the FCC, it's SEC that's got them in a lawsuit, and the SEC's got themselves backed into a corner a bit on this. So it's not about winning and losing anymore. I think it's about settling. I think they're going to settle because they won't be able to do it the way they wanted to do it. They can't use it as an example. And so this is why I think we're going to see this happen relatively quickly. I've said
Right.
this last year, and I could be wrong, and it's one whole year. Court cases take a while, but there is the summary judgment that has to happen at a certain deadline. Otherwise, it goes up the chain, and nobody wants that to happen.
Here's a perspective as well. If the SEC thinks they're going to lose, they probably would rather settle so it doesn't become precedent.
Right. And if the SEC does win, all Ripple will do is just take the token out of the country. You just won't be able to use it within the United States.
Right.
So it's not going to kill it. It's just you'll have to find an exchange outside the U.S. to trading it. It's not going to.
So outside of CoinSquare is the only place I know of, like for the easy exchanges. Where do you actually buy it? Because I know it's delisted everywhere. That's, kind of, well, it's off Simple. It's on CoinSquare.
I believe Netcoins, does Netcoins have it?
Netcoins.
Maybe.
All you got to do is pull it up in CoinGecko. Here, I'll pull it up.
CoinGecko will tell you, yeah.
Are you holding yours like on a cold wallet?
I'm holding mine in the Zoom wallet. So
okay.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. No, it's not on any.
Tim's
Binance, BitTrue, Bitfinex,
yeah.
eToro, Kraken's got it.
Woo Network.
Yeah. So I just pulled up an article by CNBC that was published on April 14th. So 6 days ago? And the key points of the article were Ripple's fight against a lawsuit from the Securities and Exchange Commission has gone exceedingly well. CEO Brad Garringhouse said, the SEC alleges Ripple conducted an illegal securities offering through sales of XRP, the world's sixth biggest cryptocurrency. Ripple argues XRP should be treated as a virtual currency rather than an investment contract like a stock. So anyways, this is a San Francisco-based startup is fighting the SEC over allegations that Ripple, Garlinghouse and executive chairman Chris Larson engaged in an illegal securities offering through the sale of XRP. So it's the token itself that they're saying should have been like a stock instead of a currency, right? A cryptocurrency the company both uses commercially and is closely associated with. Ripple has disputed the SEC's finding, arguing that XRP should be treated as a virtual currency rather than an investment contract like a stock. The lawsuit has gone exceedingly well and much better than I could have hoped when it began about 15 months ago. But the wheels of justice move slow. The SEC was not immediately available for comment when contacted by CNBC. Earlier this week, the judge ruled the SEC cannot edit the contents of emails purporting to show there were conflicts of interest regarding how the watchdog dealt with the XRP and the other tokens like Ether. So Ripple is already operating in the worst case scenario, having sold 0 enterprise contracts to financial institute in the USA last year. We're having record growth, he said. It's just outside of the US. Founded in 2012, Ripple touts itself as a blockchain-based alternative to SWIFT. SWIFT is the main payment network most countries use to transfer money back and forth. The global interbank messaging system that enables trillions of dollars in payments every day. The company sells its software to banks and fintech companies. Ripple also uses XRP, the 6th largest cryptocurrency by market value, to facilitate cross-border transactions. The company owns the majority of the 100 billion XRP tokens in circulation, which periodically releases from escrow accounts to keep prices stable. So it's there's a lot to it. But this case is important, not just for Ripple, it's important for the entire crypto industry in the United States. It would really be negative for crypto in the US. If Ripple loses, most tokens trading on platforms in the US would be deemed securities, which means they'd have to register with the SEC. That costs, that's friction. So anyways, it's a great article. If you want to go and look it up, the title is Crypto Firm Ripple's Court Battle with SEC has gone exceedingly well.
Right.
Anyways, there you go. We talked about crypto tonight. Can you believe that?
Did you guys see that Vanguard is going to end support for grayscale Bitcoin and ETH products, Ethereum products?
Never heard that.
No, interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't we talk about that last week a little bit?
No.
Who sent me that message? Oh, it might have been Mark sent that.
They're going to be unable to purchase GBTC and ETH.
I think it has to do with what Ryan said last week. That's
it's going to be halting. It's going to be halting its support over-the-counter securities. Both Bitcoin Trust and Grayscale Ethereum Trust will no longer be available for purchase. Grayscale has an open application with the SEC to turn GBTC into a Bitcoin spot ETF. So I guess they're taking it off and trying to get to a spot ETF.
Yeah, they're also the company that said that they'll sue the SEC if they don't approve it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So, I mean, maybe that, has some ripple effect with the SEC ruling with XRP. Some big guy coming in and saying, hey, we're going to sue if you, get going, like quit jamming up the logs here. You know what I mean? Because the U.S. is basically the only. I thought the U.S. Ryan had passed an ETF for one in New York.
You're on mute.
I don't know. I can't say 100%, dude. It's nothing's coming to mind for an ETF in New York. I know that I know there's 4 countries with an ETF right now. I don't know the 4th. Canada, Australia, Brazil. I don't know the 4th. Whoever does, let me know or whatever. But a spot ETF freaks me right out. And I'll tell you straight up.
We did this last week.
Yeah, because, look at what happened to friggin' Netflix, okay?
Right.
After hours, it collapses. Who's able to sell out? Level 2 investors, meaning rich people who are accredited, okay? So all the rich people sell off. What happens is you wake up in the morning and you're down 36%, the regular guy. So it's like a spot ETF I would be so afraid of all day.
That's what I told Mark Lazarick last night when he mentioned that Vanguard thing. I go, I bet you Vanguard doesn't want to sell those things because they're worried that their clients are too exposed and they can't move quick enough. They don't have enough. Vanguard hasn't got enough control over that market space to be able to move them out quick.
Plus,
that was my opinion.
Here's another thing too. You can't just get into Grayscale in a small scale because their minimum buy-in is $50,000.
I think you're on mute, Nancy.
No, I'm just like agreeing. I think that's It's volatile. They need to be able to. I think Australia banks now offer the service where they will help you and they will help you manage and hold your crypto. Like, I still think that the firm that figures out how to do that up here in Canada is a winning firm. Like, somebody like, let's just say, I'm going to throw it out there. Like, Candace works for Royal Bank and she manages people's crypto portfolio. Whoever can figure that out and can be a crypto advisor and add crypto advisors, that's going to be the winning group. Because, there's still, like, everybody, we have us as a team here, we can talk about it, and the crew comes in and asks questions and they offer up suggestions and all the rest of it. But if you didn't know anybody, if you didn't know anybody that knew how to do any of this stuff, you'd have a lot of people losing a lot of money. I mean, we had Tim Perry helping us at the beginning. Ken, you helped us figure out how to buy and sell, and you have to add this and add that, and you have to pair these things, and then you have to drop them here and then move them over to this wallet and that thing. See, I still don't know. I hold it and I still don't know. I swear to God, if something happens to Tim, I'm gonna have to take a crash course. Somebody's gonna have to sit down with me.
Come back to episode 53 and hear me say it's in a safety deposit bank in the Royal Bank.
You want to hear something really funny?
All written down like it's supposed to be in a safety deposit bank in Kitchener.
I have the Samsung S21 Galaxy phone, right? And there was an update. So I did the updates last night. My phone actually has a blockchain wallet built into it that's protected by Knox.
Really?
Fork?
Yes, Samsung's already got that on their phones.
What?
I had no idea. Yeah.
Hey, Ryan, you're on mute again.
God
Hey,
damn
Ryan,
it.
Ryan,
Sorry.
the other country I think is Dubai.
Okay, it could,
That
yeah, it
makes
could.
sense. They're big.
Dubai wants to run crypto. They want to be the crypto hub of the
They have
world.
like no taxes, no regulation. Everything's done in like 30 seconds or less. It's freaking sweet. It would be nice if I had ever had enough money to live there, but
Yeah, Kevin
I was gonna-
O'Leary just became a citizen there. Just to
Get out.
Yeah.
be serious, yeah.
Really?
And he consults over there all the time. He
He
says
just bought Coinberry. Or WonderFi did.
Which means he
He's-
did.
you watch, he's going to become bigger than Michael Saylor with his holdings. You watch. He might not be bigger than Michael Saylor with Bitcoin, but he will become another huge.
Michael Saylor is going to turn into, like, it's not going to take long for crypto to be truly mass adopted. If we're under 5% right now, Michael Saylor is still mythical, right? Michael Saylor in 20, 30 years is going to be like the Peter Lynch of today. He's going to be the boomer holding Bitcoin, and you're going to see Mr. Wonderful running DeFi like you don't even realize. I think Nancy nailed it. I think Mr. Wonderful's got it all on Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor's got a big load of gold. I mean, he's sitting on a big barrel of gold, but that's all he's got going on, and he's collecting interest payments for it, but that's all he's got going on. I'm 100% on Nancy's side. DeFi.
Yeah.
Well, on the bright part, I mean, eventually Michael Saylor will lose it all when a hobbit comes into his mountain and steals it. But
Or a
You just
leprechaun.
need that. You just need the ring, Candace. You need the ring. You
It's
need the
just so
ring to
dangerous,
go
though,
to
like-
disappear.
I
Like
always
Bill
think-
Baggins. Poof, gone.
The problem, though, with Michael Saylor is the same problem with Elon Musk. Like, if Elon Musk was to die, Tesla's screwed short term. If Michael Saylor dies, you think MicroStrategy is not going to think about moving things and trading on the open market? I mean, Michael Saylor's gone. Who the hell cares at this point? They're going to do whatever's good for their business. It's a totally different vibe. He's dead. So it's one of those things where he's amassed so much that even displacing these figureheads poses a risk to the whole system now too. Like it.
I
And
think you
the
could.
biggest indicator is going to be a flag on this little sailing ship behind his desk when he talks, a little pirate flag upside down.
Honestly, I think Ryan, you go back to episode 4 of Crypto Night in Canada when you said if you really wanted to get in and have a spot ETF, just buy MicroStrategies because basically now
Proxy. It's a proxy. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and it could be taxing, but yeah, it's
if you want exposure to Bitcoin, buy MicroStrategy.
That's the thing that you were, when I was watching your stream today, and I was we were waiting for the Tesla announcement or the earnings report, blah, 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 right? And you had up the screen there about all the after hours trading and stuff like that like the majority of the public has no access to, right?
None. Well, no, if you're not super rich in Canada, you're not getting it, period.
Yeah.
In America, you can get after hours and pre-market on Robinhood, which is like our Wealth Simple. So now you have retail traders in the United States who can bury every single person known to man outside of the United States. It is, sorry?
Would it? What? What?
Go ahead.
Gee, thanks. Do you think it would be to a company's benefit or detriment to list their stock as a coin on a 24-hour exchange in a cryptocurrency environment?
Way too complicated because they already have the ability to extend trading hours, as Robinhood has proved through several layers, XYZ. It's that the exchanges charge the platform money. So the platform has a hard time justifying after hours trading, which is why you sometimes have to pay for it with like banks, right? So that's the whole thing is, are these platforms going to be big enough to justify the pricing that's required to have 24-hour trading? Because Robinhood's already contemplating 24-hour trading. Right now they have like 5:30 a.m. to like 7:30 p.m., which is for the regular person, they could have avoided Netflix like crazy. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, all Americans who are using Robinhood, you're good to go, even though people make fun of it. But 24-hour trading, I guarantee you that'll come before we start tokenizing stocks, because that's just so complicated and almost unnecessary. If you opened up 24-hour trading to match the competitiveness of the crypto market, that's where I could see happening. But I don't know who the F am I, right? Anything could happen.
Yeah, we could just replace all stocks with governance tokens.
Yeah. Are you guys muted?
Muted.
Or
they're just being very quiet.
I've given her control.
I'm trying to set.
Things that's happened in financial markets in recent
I'm trying to
It's
set
interest
something
rates
up.
went negative.
Just
That's
hang
right.
on.
People were
I'm trying to set something up,
You
And
need to
Tim's-
stop touching the
and
buttons.
Tim's not being very helpful here.
What? There's only so many hands that fit on a piano.
Wait,
Anyway,
you're guys are in front of a piano? Shouldn't you be in front of your computer?
we're in front of
I did
computers.
not give you the key
Okay.
or the note.
I want to play something. Tim's got to set it up here because he's being funny about his computer. And I want to play something, and I want us to watch it, and then I want to have a conversation about it. Because Tim and I had a nice little debate. If everybody will indulge me in 1 second. It's not a slide. It's share your screen. Don't remove Candace. We're going to have a domestic fight here
Oh
in a
my
second.
God, you know that term, short walk or long walk off a short pier?
Stop. Stop it.
We
Share
are
your
in Florida.
Oh my God, now I'm having a hot flash.
Oh
This
dear
is,
God.
can you just
well,
hurry?
thank you to the 27 people
Stop.
watching and 24 likes.
Ah, hot. Just set this up, please. Please. That, new data. That one. No, this. There.
Okay, you ready, everybody? Here we go. Can you see? Can you
See
that?
it?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the pump, right? Hello?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, here we go.
Play.
Yes.
literally having to pay to keep their money in their bank accounts or elsewhere. Now, of course, we don't know what the future holds. And so one of the big questions has been, will the United States get negative interest rates on a nominal basis? We already know with inflation at 8.5% that the real rate of return is negative on most bonds and other types of financial assets. But the big question is, will the interest rates go negative? Now, what we can see is in the US markets, we see investors quite literally betting on what they think is going to happen. And there's a very specific data point around the euro dollar future that tells us investors definitely believe over the next couple of years, we are going to get negative interest rates. Don't listen to me, though. My friend George Gammon's got a great explanation of it. Here's a little bit of his video that explains how this is happening and what investors believe is likely to transpire.
The options market is predicting the unthinkable. What am I referring to specifically? Negative interest rates. And I'm not talking about real rates. I'm talking about negative nominal rates. I want to start by looking at a chart from the Atlanta Fed. As you can see, this is kind of the line in the sand. From here, the market is expecting the Fed to start cutting interest rates. There's an options market for euro dollar futures. The euro dollar futures, basically a bet on LIBOR, which is kind of a bet on the Fed funds rate. The prices for the options that would be in the money, or the prices for the options that would pay out if interest rates actually go negative, have skyrocketed. So the smart money in the options market for euro dollar futures is actually making big bets right now that in the very near future, the Fed will take interest rates negative. This is a huge recession indicator. And why would the Fed do something so extreme with interest rates? Because at that point in time, we would either be in a recession, if not an economic depression.
George has always got great explanations. And so it's really important to pay attention here is that as soon as you see investors betting on over the next 2, 3, 4 years that we're going to get negative interest rates, it's worth paying attention to. The idea is that the central bank will continue to raise interest rates. They're going to put immense pressure on the economy. They're going to push us into a recession. And the only tools that they have, quantitative easing and the manipulation of those interest rates. When we get to that recessive period, they're going to panic. They're going to capitulate. And they're going to have to slam down the interest rates. Last time in 2020 was 2 emergency rate cuts. This time, who knows what they could do, how quickly, and how severe. And so ultimately, if we eventually broach that negative interest rates in the United States, this isn't just a mathematical concept. It's not just an economic concept. There's also a religious element to it too. Negative interest rates, that happens somewhere else. That happens in Europe or developing nations, not here in the United States. We have our shit together. We are in control. We don't need to go to negative interest rates, right? Right? Well, we're going to find out. But right now, investors are definitely betting on the fact that they think negative interest rates are on the way. The next couple of years are going to be very interesting to watch this all play out. Hey, you. Did you like this video? Great. Make 5 of them a day and post them here on this channel. Make sure you subscribe.
Okay, dead serious. I just put it in the comment down below. I know we all have our, favorite YouTubers. I've mentioned this guy before, George freaking Gammon, and his other channel, which gets a little bit more towards my other side of the personality, the Rebel Capitalist.
Yeah.
Both of them. And I mean freaking both of them. And also another tidbit from that conversation, that's why even if you don't trade options, following options pricing is such an indicator of everything. So I didn't see that video. That's freaking interesting. I'm going to have to go check out George's video on that, but that's really interesting. He's a rock star, guys.
Ryan, his video was called George's video. The 3 powerful recession indicators are giving urgent signals. It was posted 1 day ago. So I want to talk about this really quickly because Tim and I had a debate about it. He goes, I don't understand when they've been raising interest rates and raising interest rates. So
yeah, but no, they're raising interest rates on us. Okay, right. But we're already 2-3 years behind the planning of the future, so to speak, right?
Right, so what I explained to Tim is when you raise interest rates, they have no choice. There's so much liquidity in the marketplace that it's caused all asset prices to rise, which is the very big, hot housing market is a prime example of why they are forced. They have to raise interest rates to cool everything down. But when they raise interest rates, it's going to start to put pressure on us, and it's going to put us in a recessive state. From there, the government only has two things in their toolbox. 2. They can do more quantitative easing. They could do more money printing. They could add more liquidity to the marketplace. But if they do that, we're just going to be looped back around, right back to where we are right now. Or they can drop interest rates to to cool things off and to get people wanting to buy again, what am I trying to say? To take out more debt, because when it's negative, they'll take out more debt. But all of this leads to stagflation. And I don't think people understand. I don't think I've ever seen stagflation in my lifetime, but we have a real possibility that that's what's going to happen to us. And negative interest rates means that if you are holding cash in the bank, that you have to pay to have your money sitting in there.
So, Nancy, I got to mention this. I don't know when you caught my live stream today, Tim, but I brought up briefly that Israel was moving off of so dependent on the American dollar, yada, yada, yada. This, to me, just seeing everything setting up super nicely so that later on down the road, it's going to be a brutal ending for the American dollar and those involved with it. To me, like Nancy says, all the pieces are falling together, but you get news pieces every single day, new central banks moving away from the American dollar. You get interest rate. Now, what do you think, by the way, negative interest rates is going to do to America when you're already having countries bail on them as the reserve currency? Because there's no incentive to have business located there. Really, there's no financial incentive whatsoever to have business in America. Truly, like none. So they're going to go to the alternative, which is obviously the rising yen and whatever, right? And it's like, this just seems like Ray Dalio's video, man. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to look back on it in 10 years and be like, this son of a bitch nailed it. But everything is falling in line for that. And it's freaky because it seems so obvious. And you see America collapsing with their dollar every single day with respect to who actually wants to touch it. Then you've got stagflation concerns. No one knows what's going on with the economy. Canadian inflation's no one knows what's going on with it. We're blowing expectations left and right. It's a perfect setup. It's like the perfect setup. This is how, by the way, the guy that I'm going to say the very far right hates this guy, but what's his name? That guy who it's all conspiracy. That German guy who made a bunch of money speculating on the British currency. It's almost like that moment where you're going to create a hell of a lot of new billionaires, and it's just not going to be North American or Western billionaires. That's the only thing. But it'll be an interesting time.
So, just out of curiosity, does anyone know what stagflation is? Because I have the definition in case anybody wants to know. I'm sure Candace knows. Candace, do you know what stagflation
Well, it's nothing
is?
leading up to a wedding, is it?
I think that's a stag party.
Oh, sorry.
Or it could be Stag Party Nation.
That's when Andrew's mannequin goes backwards around the room.
So stagflation is characterized by slow economic growth and relatively high unemployment, or economic stagnation, which is at the same time accompanied by rising prices, i.e. inflation. Stagflation can alternately be defined as a period of inflation combined with a decline in gross domestic product. Well, we've already got gross domestic product declining. We're not producing anything in North America. Relatively speaking, we don't produce stuff. So you already have that on a decline, and you got inflation going through the roof. So
I mean, it's a lot like a depression.
it very much is.
Do you know what I find interesting is that in Canada, the one thing, and I'm just thinking about now, the one thing that I found in Canada is when you go around, and you still go around to new car dealerships, and you see a lot of open parking lot there, right? Do you know that the car dealerships down here are full of brand new cars? Go figure that one out.
Yeah, they probably don't have chips to put in them, so they can't move them off the lot.
Certain manufacturers did a lot better in planning than others. Like you'll go to some manufacturers that are, and okay, so just in case people are curious too, that probably speaks more to the general manager or the district manager than it does the overall situation, because they all order differently depending on bonuses and sales structures and stuff. But
Yeah.
you must be in a high population area, because I'm driving down Calgary. Every second Honda, not a vehicle in there. Every Dodge loaded to the gills. Ford, half a lot. It's like you can really, and Calgary is a really high volume city, so they always get the max. So I always found that Calgary or downtown Toronto, downtown Montreal is a good indication, or not downtown, but that's a good indication of who screwed up in the auto manufacturers, because they get the max outflow regardless. Like a small town like Sarnia is not going to get the max outflow it doesn't matter. Like you only get what you sell and yada yada. So it can be a little bit it can fluctuate a bit, but man, I don't know about, it's good that the car dealers are lining up. I know out here though, they're still dry as hell, man. We got no cars in half the Honda dealerships, like none. So I know that they're dying hard. Dodge, they either can't sell cars or they had the best forward-thinking management of anybody. But I have no clue what's going on. But it's interesting. The used, like Tesla has Calgary's got the only Tesla dealership in Western Canada. Actually, I don't know about Vancouver, but in Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, yada yada. They're flying Teslas out the door. They can't even keep up. Every other car dealership, they might have 2-3 people in their lot. No one's looking. But I don't know what's going on.
So I'll tell you, it was a 2,100 kilometer drive to here. And I saw 3 Teslas on the road.
Really? Oh, they're insane here.
Fire ride. And they weren't until I hit Florida. So, and even driving around here, because Vero is a little,
Higher end.
not a lot of Teslas. Which is
Maybe it's a
interesting.
lot to do with like dealer location though, because they really don't have a lot of dealers. Like, because I know Calgary's flooded, dude. Like they're flooded. But at the same time, Calgary's got a Lamborghini dealership, and I don't remember Ottawa having one, and yet I see Lamborghinis everywhere here. I think it might just be access too. You know what I mean? But
Potentially.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not sure whether nobody really wants a depression. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to go through that. I don't want to go through that. But I also don't know how we get ourselves out of the pickle we've gotten ourselves into with the real estate. I mean, the real estate is absolutely stupid. It's stupid. I actually get on my Facebook account now because we were looking for a place to live. So now we get ads all the time for this home, that home, this, that, and it actually makes me angry when I see they've listed it for $699. But you look at the property and go, oh, they want $1.5 million for this. They're just trying to play games to get eyeballs on their property. And then you look at some of the stuff that's listed at higher prices. They don't even have a nice kitchen. They don't even have a nice, like, you're thinking, who in their right mind is buying this stuff at these prices? This is insanity. Something has to give. This is not right.
Well, didn't Doug Ford, or he is about to introduce or has made law the fact as part of a real estate law that they now have to disclose what the bids are when going to a house. They can't hold them tight to their chest like they used to. They have to now disclose what bids and how much they are.
Well, what difference does that make?
I don't know. I'm throwing.
Well, no, blind bidding is pretty. That's car salesman stuff. Is like blind bidding. That's like forcing people to go against each other. Meanwhile, it's fake almost. It's like a fugazi. You're just fake bidding the whole time. That's the problem with blind bidding. I think I read that.
Right. So you get the open bids. So everybody can look down. I can see that Ken's bid 800,000 and Ryan's bid 810,000 and Candace's bid 802,000. And so what? I'm gonna go, okay, I will go to just above the highest bidder.
Well, that's a lot better. If there's 3 bids that are all around 800 to 815 grand, and you can see that, right? It's a whole lot better than going into it, knowing that it's an $800,000 asking, knowing that there's 3 bids and you saying, screw it, 890, buy it right now. You know what I mean? Because that's why blind bidding is so for the salesperson, and that's it. No one wins except the salesperson for that.
Right. Taylor Walker just said, house for $499 in Durham just went for $808,000.
That's stupid.
It is stupid. It's ridiculous. And so I'm not sure what the blind bid would do there. Are you thinking?
I don't know.
You thinking? Okay, I don't know. Okay, just one second. I don't know what Candace is bidding, and I don't know what Ken is bidding, and I don't know what Ryan is bidding. So I don't know. I think I'll bid twice.
I think
what
it's
the ask is.
I think as I think about it, it could be along the lines of consumer protection, so that it's not leaving someone's doubt in the mind where a house is 850 and they say I got multiple bids, but those multiple bids are maybe up to 875. This one person goes wackadoodle and goes 1.1 million, and you know what I mean, when they didn't need to. Do you know what I'm saying? So
it's 100%, dude.
I think this through. I'm thinking
if you don't have. Well, not only that, if you don't have to disclose the bids by law, then there's as many bids as I tell you there's bids. You know what I mean? Honestly, and that's just how it works. And I hate to say it, but that's just how it works.
I see what you mean.
So
you could be the agent, and you could say to Tim and I, who are trying to buy the house,
you got a bid at this, and
on this.
And the second you call me out on it, oh, it fell through. Sorry, guys. Whatever. It just means I can fugaze the hell out of it. If there's someone who really wanted your house at 800, I'll bring in 4 or 5 fake bids right off the bat, to just trip out their real estate agent, right? Their buyer's agent. So I'm going to freak him out by bringing in blind bids. They don't even know what's going on. They don't know the content, the context, nothing. And then they go 100 grand higher. Their sales rep probably doesn't care because he makes more. So he's not going to say a friggin' word. I don't care because I just made an extra 25K. You know what I mean? So it's just too easy to take advantage of stuff.
No, that's price fixing.
When you're working with the buying and selling agent, 100%. Yeah. That's totally against the law. Price fixing. Yeah.
So Mr. Red Taco, just to clarify, so an agent could bullshit and they make the money, pretty much.
Why not, dude? If there's no public disclosure on whatever you're dealing with, yeah. Have you ever been to a used car lot before, dude? I mean, that's kind of what it's like.
And the only person that would really know would be the sales agent and maybe the sellers.
maybe the sellers, if you even chose to let them know and cut them in because you needed it or whatever. But that's it. No one's going to turn down that commission when a house is going to pay 50 grand. And if you know what I mean? So,
well, that was like this one place we looked at. It was gorgeous. I mean, this place, I was in love with this place. The problem with it was on a very, very, very busy street, and I would have had an issue every time I had to try to pull into my driveway or pull out of my driveway. It would have given me anxiety. Like, I'm talking, it was on a hill, on a bend. I'm like, I wouldn't have been able to get in and out. And it was like speedway getting in there. I'm thinking, no, beautiful house, no way. They had it on for $5.99. So of course we went and had a look at it because, nothing's been on for $5.99. And so we talked to the agent, and he was the listing agent's associate. And we knew that they were really looking for about $750 on the place. And so he said, well, I know you guys love this place. Would you consider anything? And I go, maybe $5.99. But then I'd have to weigh that out because I would have anxiety with this street out here, getting in and out. I'll be clocked. I know I will. And anyways, they had two offers come in, and both of them around that $5.99 mark. So they had put it on for the right price of what the market was willing to bear. So they decided to not take any of those offers.
This is the beautiful thing. This is why the salespeople are never freaking stupid. That house's fair value is probably $5.99, maybe $5.75. Then what? The homeowner is going into it anticipating that the market is still going to pay me, XYZ over the amount. Realtors didn't let the market get ahead of them. They maintained, which was smart. It was the consumer who screwed up. It was the consumer who went too fast, who spent too much money, and got. By the way, when we had anticipation of rates going up, you don't think they changed the sucker intro rates at the banks and for private mortgage lenders and stuff for that quarter point before they even raised it? Like, for those who thought that they actually got a deal, I mean, Jesus. Like, with the amount that they're raising rates right now on an $800,000 house, if we get one more half point, and we're going to, okay, probably have a full point by the end of the next 18 months, okay? One more half point. That means in a 6-month period, your mortgage on an $800,000 house is up $390 a month. It's like, okay, now you got to break that down about how much money that is every single year. And when you get statistics, when Pierre Poilievre and Trudeau's government even saying the average Canadian is $200 to $300 from insolvency, well, holy crap, that's the rate hike. That is literally the rate hike. So, yeah.
And I don't even want to tell you how much food prices keep going up. Like, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. And bad things keep happening outside of the already fragile supply chain challenges already. We keep having bad things happen, like the avian flu. The avian bird flu is going to affect chicken prices and egg prices. We already have now, there was a fire at Taylor Farms in California at their main facility. And most of you probably don't know what Taylor Farms does, but after tonight, if you pay attention to what's going on in the grocery store, go and look at any of your bag salads. If you go and get the kale salad mix, or you go and look at any of any of those bag salad mix, look at the label on the top. It's Taylor Farms. So they're still in their production facility in Yuma, Arizona right now, but they should have moved. The growers are now growing up in California. The move has happened. So they've got to regroup really quickly, and they got to get something sorted out in order to keep production moving forward. There's a drought in 70% of North America right now. That's going to affect growing. We've got issues with Ukraine not being able to produce a crop this year. And then you've got fertilizer issues. All of this is going to exacerbate our problem. So you start adding in all of these factors into our food costs. Now and higher interest. So you just keep adding all these costs, just keep piling them on. And this is where I'm saying we're going to slide into a very, very scary, beyond recession, going into another place I don't want to talk about.
That's a good point you bring up, Ryan, is that when we came down here, we got in here Easter Sunday, and we needed some groceries. And the only thing that was open was a Walmart and it was a Walmart Express. And it was very humbling to go in there because I don't know whether just because it was that particular day, but the meat counter or the meat selection was like nil. The produce was limited. It was one of those pictures you see with fairly unstocked shelves. And
Well, you know what scares me though, Tim, about this, and Nancy knows this more than anybody here. Canada doesn't mean SH in the food cycle here. So when America gets hungry, you think we're going to get food? We're not going to get food. Like if I was the president of the United States and my country was hungry, I'd say, screw you guys. Honestly, don't even call me. Like I'm America. Like screw you. You're going to go hungry. You're going to die. That's the thing with Canada because we don't make dick here. The one thing we got going for us is we have nutrient making fertilizer. That'll probably go somewhere. And then we have a ton of lithium for this battery BS that'll take off the next decade. So we can rock and roll with that. But we have nothing we need right now. We have no food. We have no money left. And we have no leadership. This is Canada's going to drop off.
You made a comment about eggs. And this friend of ours that we're down here seeing, she said, I used to pay 99 cents. 99 cents for a dozen eggs, and it was up to like $3.60. It's
okay. I'm going to step up in a second. That's why I put something else on your back screen if you bring me up in a second here, dude. But I'm going to leave my desk is what I mean. But okay, so as a single person, it is literally getting impossible for me to eat food, okay? Talking about the salad bags, for God's sakes. Unless I want to have salad all day, some of it's going to go rotten. Some of it will go rotten, okay? Unless I eat the entire onion in like 5 days with 80 meals of pasta, I'm throwing food away left and right here. I mean, I don't even know what to do. Like, why don't you sell me a half an onion and like 3 baby carrots? I can make a stir fry. Like, you know what I mean? But living as a single dude is becoming next to impossible, bro. I'm buying for 2, throwing away 1 serving. And it's like, well, I guess I have no goddamn choice.
Buy smaller onions.
Buy smaller onions, bro. You know
Or
what?
make a meal for 2, and then you got your meal for the next day.
for
No, leftovers.
I
Freeze
have
it.
such
You
a
always
hard
freeze
time
it.
with leftovers.
How
You
about
can always-
How about onion sale? No,
I can
well,
do
you know
that.
what? I mean, it's true, and I mean, does what you save on wastage, does it make sense that you go out and you buy the already pre-cut, pre-packaged vegetables that you can in supermarkets where
I
it's,
have to.
well, it's a little bit more, but is the offset the savings in money? Because
I'm saving money I'm saving money by buying the lonely person serving. They might as well call it that. I'm saving money, but per carrot, per gram of onion, I'm tripling up compared to everyone else.
Yeah.
Which is a bitch. Because I want to cook myself a chicken and pasta dinner. It's going to cost me like as if I went out to a restaurant.
Yeah.
Whereas if I had someone here, it will cost the same. It's one of those things where outside of the chicken breast, pasta's nothing, rice is nothing. I don't know, man. That one thing I'm noticing, produce is killing me. Although every time I go and check out bananas, I'm like, how are there people starving? I just bought like 5 bananas for like $1. So that's the only thing that has me feeling good is the price of bananas is always going to be cheap. Okay, I'll be right back.
Do you want us to put the other thing on, Ryan?
No, it's not there.
Oh. And
Sorry, what? I'll be right back after this. What?
Oh, did you want us to put your other screen on, or did you?
You took it down.
No, yeah. No, it's good. I'll be right back. 2 seconds.
Okay. So, Candace, how are you finding the prices in Ottawa?
Well, like when it comes to meat, we got everything delivered like actually today from farm to fork. And they always have fresh eggs on the truck too, so you can get a whole big flat of eggs. So, right now we've got a freezer packed with meat.
That's good.
But now yesterday we did go to the store, and I know over at Walmart, there were a lot of empty shelves, and especially in the freezer section. I was just like, oh yeah, look at that. Supply chain.
Yeah. Ken, I know you go to the local farm.
Mm-hmm.
You've said that on a regular occasion. Has Natasha been like harping at you about the price of things? Has she said anything? Has she said cash in some more of your Shiba Inu so that I can buy groceries tomorrow? Has that come out of her mouth?
No, we're good. We're Gucci.
No, she says 4 o'clock. For God's sake, come to bed.
Our most expensive, besides meat, right? Our most expensive thing is like snacks for the kids for school.
Yeah.
So, but you can't, I'm like, send the kids with carrots and like ranch dressing or something.
Okay, no. Okay, screw this. I'm not done taking care of Eddie yet. I gotta put this out there though. Okay, you want your kids to have a good freaking snack? You know what? My mom used to send me to school with freaking baby carrots. I'm sitting there like, what are you doing? Like, what? I'm trying to make friends here. You know what I mean? Anyway, send your kids to school with baby carrots and lemon juice, bro. Dude, I put lemon juice over my baby carrots. I'm telling you, you will become a carrot. You're gonna have a hard time stopping eating carrots. Anyway, word for the wise. Try it, dude. It's like pineapple and pizza. I don't know. It just works. It just works.
I've never heard of this
testing
before.
Tim's future.
Try it. Lemon juice and carrots. Okay, I'll be back.
Debbie just threw up in her mouth on that one. I think we have to do a taste test
I don't think so.
sometime.
Why do you listen to him?
Well,
I agree. I think that Tim needs to eat them.
Candace, you're right. I
Candace.
think we need to try this out and see what we think of this.
Actually, it wouldn't be that bad because carrots really do have a sweet quality to them. So it's like a sweet and sour. Tim, I don't think it would be that bad.
I'm pretty sure those baby carrots are manufactured. I don't think that.
They
I'm
are.
99% sure they are actually not.
Yeah.
How do you
They start with a big carrot this big, and they keep rotating until it gets smaller, and then you get a little carrot.
No, I think it's
I think they just grow them small, Ken. They don't use a lathe on a carrot.
Well, I guess they can do it that way too, but the lathe is better because then the pieces that come off, they put it in your bags of pre-mixed salad. See, so
Okay, so we're down here in Florida with my bestie, and now she's decided she's going to weigh in on what we should be eating. She's saying, how about some frog legs and gator tail, because she wants me to go down, and you accompany that with swamp cabbage.
I've eaten two of the three of those things.
Have you
What
had?
have you eaten?
I've had frog legs and I've eaten alligator. I've not eaten swamp cabbage though.
Have you had cooter?
I just got to have the frog legs and gator. And I will get small cabbage.
Well, see, the only problem with frog legs is there's just not enough meat on them.
No, they're like a chicken wing.
Yeah, you need bigger.
Oh,
frog.
I had them once and never again.
Well, and cooter. See, she wants me to have cooter too. See, how about cooter?
Well, I'd rather have cooter than cooties.
Yeah, I mean, what is swamp cabbage?
Yeah, I want to know what swamp cabbage is.
Yeah, we
could Google it and have a look at it.
She'll type it in.
Cooter.
Swamp cabbage is good. It sounds like it's probably better than regular cabbage.
So Chris,
The heart of a palm.
Mr. Red Taco wants to know if it tastes like chicken, and it kind of does, apparently. Debbie says that swamp cabbage is heart of a palm.
Oh, okay.
Heart of a palm. Oh wait, heart of a palm tree. Heart of a palm tree.
Yeah. See, I couldn't tell you if the gator tastes like chicken because when I had it, it was all kinds of Cajun spices on it. I mostly just tasted the spices.
I had Mako shark, and I can tell you it tasted like water.
I had Mako shark too. I've eaten Mako shark as well.
It tastes like water. There's no real big taste to it.
Not a lot of taste. It's almost like having a steak, but it's soft and it almost falls apart. It was just the texture is just wrong.
Yeah,
I had frog's legs, and it does taste quite a bit like chicken. The only thing that freaks you out is, when you pick up a chicken wing, you have what you know is a chicken wing, and it's sort of like that, but just sort of longer.
Yeah.
And then you can see like it's got a pointier bone down. Not where the web feet is, not where like the little.
Okay.
There's one secret to eating frog's legs is you don't want them too fresh because then they jump off the plate.
Start.
No.
I swear to God, Ryan would be throwing up right now.
He would be thrown up. It's good we had this conversation without him. He'd be like, anyways. Debbie wants to know about if anybody's had dolphin.
Probably mixed with canned tuna.
What?
You never know.
Well,
You never know.
I would need a dolphin because it's a mammal.
Flipper.
You know, it's kind of, they're really smart. I mean, they're too smart.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's we were talking about something, and then we got the high price of food.
Yeah, and then Ken went on with his carrots and lathe, and you know.
So one thing when we were talking about the
Just got shredded from there.
when we were talking about the high price of homes and stuff like that, and then there was a whole bunch of people in the comments that were talking about the people were moving back down to Nova Scotia, to Halifax to get affordable housing, blah, blah, blah. And because of this remote work, I wanted to bring something up that came up in conversation a couple of weeks ago about, and if I've said this last week, just stop me and we won't talk about it again. But there was a study that came in about the fact that they believe in the next 2 years that people will be returning to the office in droves. And the reason that they believe this is because they think that the result of people being in the office versus people being remote, that the people in the office are going to get FaceTime with the senior executives that are in the office. They will have better reviews and they will be the first in line for promotions. And so there's a feeling that all the folks that thought I want to move out and away because I'm forced to work remotely will migrate back into the city center. So I thought I'd throw that out to get anybody else's opinion on it.
I think, though, you got to keep in mind that not everybody wants a promotion. There are the ones who are ambitious are going to choose to work in the office, where there's a lot of people who just want the status quo. They just want their checks and they don't really want added responsibility and they don't want extra work. There's a lot of people like that. And those people are not going to be heading back to the office in droves for sure.
They're called millennials.
You're on mute.
You're on mute, Ryan. You're on mute.
You're on mute.
What?
There you go. You guys
Sorry.
know me. Okay,
What did you do?
for the dog.
Just
For
because
the
Eddie
dog.
was barking. Sorry
Yeah.
about that.
No, it's okay for the dogs. That's okay. I was gonna say flat out, if I'm a boss and someone told me I'm happy just collecting my check, you're fired. Like you're so fired, it's not even funny. Like who wants someone who says, "Oh, I don't need a promotion. I'm good. I'm good. Just send me. I don't want to come into work. I don't want to participate in the team." Think about just where a manager is going to come with, like, and I get where you're coming from, Candace, because that is how so many people are going to think about this. I know so many people who are just content, and there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Yeah.
But then place yourself in the other person's shoes for a second, and just acknowledge that. Okay, so I've got a bunch of employees who want to come back. I've got a bunch who don't want to have anything to do with us. They don't want to see our faces again. What are the likelihood that I'm even going to continue to pay them? Like, you know what I mean? Like for me, it's going to be, it was the great resigning. And then I think we're going to follow that up with the great firing happening really freaking soon.
Well, I think it depends on the business.
Yeah.
I know when I was managing call centers, those who just wanted to do the job and didn't have ambition, but they were giving good customer service and they wanted to work at home. That meant I could hire more people to put in seats. So it
Sure.
was actually
Of course, like totally job specific. But if we're talking like Nancy, her boss wants her to come back to work. Let's just give her as an example. Nancy says, nope. Honestly, what do you think Nancy's boss? Like, I'm just saying honestly, like for sales, for people who are on the road, who manage X, Y. I mean, I would find that there's probably very limited positions available where someone who doesn't give a shit is a good employee. That's the only thing I would say. Like, even that though is even if just the fact that an employee would say that I'd rather work at home, I don't want to come in. I'd rather find someone new with a fresh attitude. That's literally, I mean, we had the great resigning. I would be willing to bet we're going to have that great firing, and it's going to be fast, and it's going to hit the people who think who aren't seeing it coming.
Do you remember at the beginning of the cooties that people who were staying at home, and maybe it was towards the end of the first year or something like that, but there was talk in the wind about okay, so if you're going to not travel to the office, blah, 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 we need to look at your wage.
Yeah, I 100%. Oh yeah, that's exactly it. It's like,
But that's a nail in the coffin for an employer to say, I'm going to reduce your wage because now you're working at home. People are going to go, bye.
well, then come into the office.
The only problem with that is that I don't think you're going to be able to fill those jobs. And sometimes having a body in the seat is better than having nobody there.
Right.
Okay. Oh, and then on the count, just because I love playing devil's advocate, I would say that we don't have CERB anymore. We don't have the wide range of benefits. So you don't really have the ability to say no to a job as much now as we did last year.
Well, people
I
are
think that's
still
fair to
doing
say
it.
too.
That's the whole thing. I don't know
Well,
what they're doing.
Parents need to stop letting their kids move back into the basement.
Yeah.
That's what it is, right? The children are moving back home with the parents, and the parents are supporting them. I think that's what's happening.
You're going to see a lot of people make a lot of friggin' money. And it's just like in March of 2020. There are certain people who took advantage of the situation and destroyed it, catapulted up when people chose to sit back down. This is going to be another situation when bosses ask you to come to work. Just like Nancy said, those who actually do make it into work are going to thank their lucky stars that they went back to work, because no one else is. So they're going to get everything under the sun, spoon-fed all the house deals. We used to call them a house mouse in sales. That's what you're going to have left, is just pure house mouses all the time getting gravy. And then when you do make it back into the workplace after all this angst and spite, all the people who didn't deserve it are going to be way ahead of you because they just went back to the office. And that's my only thing.
So do we think Eric Mittens is right? Most people have a job they don't particularly like and they're there to pay just to pay the bills. Do we think that to be true?
50-50. There's some people that just it took them so long to get that one job that they'll do whatever it takes to be in that job because they don't feel like they can move on to something else.
Yeah.
But there's also
they're
two ways of
just
looking at it,
available.
though, because like for Eric in that situation, I would say the job probably isn't that person's priority. Maintaining their house, that was probably their goal in a priority. It was probably their personal life outside of the job, because they're not thinking about their job. They don't give a shit about their job. It satisfies their personal need and their personal goal. Whereas other people, though, on the other side of the spectrum have that workplace goal and that money drive, whatever, that no personal situation will ever satisfy. So it's like two totally different people, and it's almost impossible to compare the two because I don't value a home. You guys know that. I have no value in a home. But there are people, Ken, you have a family to raise. You put value in a home. So the job doesn't mean as much to you as for me, putting no value in this. That's kind of my only priority. You know what I mean? So
But my job, though, last year, I missed 3 days of work all year. 365 days, I missed 3 days.
That's not bad.
It's drive.
It's a freaking rock star move, dude.
It's the way I was raised.
Right. Me too. I didn't miss any time off at all.
From kindergarten to grade 8, I missed 5 days. So I missed 5 days of school in
Whoa.
9 years.
You were a better student than I, buddy.
So,
Well, okay, and then
but I was also raised that in order for you to have something, you alone must achieve it. Don't expect your parents to buy you this and buy you that, buy you your first car, help you with the down payment on your house. That's just the way I was raised, right? What you achieve in your future is because of your success and your success alone.
I 100% subscribe to that.
okay,
Good,
but
I'm hiring.
I know there's something to be said for what Candace said though earlier, is that there are going to be a pocket of people that, and this is true for women too in the workforce, I will say this, is that, I often wondered why women in particular only got to a certain level in their careers. And was it men holding women back? And there's some truth to yes, and then there's also the truth to, some women are just satisfied. They get to a certain level and they go, I can manage this job with all the other commitments I have to my kids and to my husband or to my partner and to my to my household, to the responsibilities I have outside. So to Candace's point, there are people that are just satisfied with where they're at and that they don't want any more career growth. I'm now witnessing it. I see it on a regular basis. But
that's not like, so, but that's not the workforce that we're relying on though, right? Because like if you have.
But you need people that are happy to stay where they're at, that have the expertise and that are willing to kick it out, but just that. That's I'm going to do this and I'm not going to do anymore. We need people that are like that too, right?
I would just say that, I mean, I know we're having a hard time filling jobs, this and that, and you wouldn't want to let go of people. It's just, how on earth could you justify biting the hand that feeds you to stay home when, I mean, maybe I'm coming across.
Let's go back a little bit to my comment, because it wasn't necessarily like in our company, for instance, I had the choice. I went down through from me all the way down through everybody that works for me. And I got to deem them, are you a virtual employee? Are you a planned periodic? Like, what kind of an employee are you? And I got to assign them that they were either virtual or they had to be in the office or whatever. And outside of me, I didn't put anybody had to be in the office. Nobody. I said it could all be virtual if they wanted to be virtual. But my comment on the article that I read was not about forcing people back in, but rather they're going to see a switch of people wanting to go back into the office because they're going to get FaceTime with the executives. They're going to be seen as their evaluations are going to go up because people can see what they're doing, and versus what we can't see. And the third thing is that they're going to have more opportunity to be promoted because people will know who they are versus an unknown person that's sitting in their home.
There's a whole lot of things that people aren't taking into consideration, because regular benefits, for one, has not been reevaluated since the start of the pandemic. You couldn't. Your company would be destroyed if you reevaluated benefits, right? If you're working at home, because the United States is already starting to do this, they're pulling back your benefits because of the unhealthy lifestyle that they cannot control and yada, yada. They don't even know who you are anymore. You don't come in the office. So they're pulling back all your health benefits, right? So it's, why wouldn't we just, I mean, if you don't want to come in, and you're even lucky enough to still collect a paycheck from us, you're not getting any benefits. You're not getting this, X, Y. I don't understand why any business would ever tolerate someone. I wouldn't even respond to that email. Like, I don't even know how, I mean, if anything, I know for a fact that there's enough go-getters in your company, Nancy, to satisfy a few holes. Guaranteed. And I guarantee that.
The interesting thing was when I said to the group, I told them they were all considered virtual employees in my mind. You're virtual, do what you want. Most of them are on the road salespeople. That's just a sales team, right? So most of them, but everybody else, I gave them the out. You don't have to come into the office if you don't want to. Stay at home, no skin off my nose. But the second that I said, I will be working from the office on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, because my boss has said he's going to be in the office on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, it was shocking the amount of people, even though I told them they didn't have to, said, oh, if you're going to be in the office on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I might come into the office on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I might even start going in on Monday.
You could tell them just for shits and giggles that you're going in Monday to Friday. see if your workforce goes back to work. That would be funny to see, actually. That would be a funny social experiment, seriously. To like, and I mean low key, to see what they would say if you said, I'm going back Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. I mean, we're back to normal, guys. As a genuine social experiment, I'd love to know how many people outright told their boss no. I'd love to know that.
There's a lot. Did
anyone tell you no?
No, not in my company, but my really good friend, her husband is a sales director or a VP of sales for his company. And he was told he's a Canadian and he runs the Canadian division, but he was told by his American bosses that he had to get his team back into the office. So he started mandating it. First, he lost 10 people. They quit right on the spot. To Candace's point, they quit right on the spot. And then since then, he's had 4 other people say, when compensation review comes up, just to let you know, I'm not interested in a raise, but I will be telling you I want to work from home. Otherwise, I'm going to go look for an employment. And this is sales.
So hold on. So that's, and if anyone is unfamiliar with it, sales pretty much dictates culture in a lot of the businesses. I mean, they get whatever the hell they want. I don't care if anyone likes it or not. Isn't it interesting though, that the number one department, at least with respect to like the balls on the floor kind of thing, like running the show, sales said that they're equating being at home with money.
Yep.
They're giving up the raise so they can stay at home.
Yep.
Therefore, you want to stay at home and you don't deserve a raise, pay cut and benefits are cut. Like, I think people are really barking up the wrong tree.
Right.
It's like, what do we hate corporations so much that we're going to assume that you actually are the one, like they provide the jobs. That's it. It's like, without them, we're nothing. And we're going to keep going and going and going. Sorry, Ken.
This whole working from home thing was a quick fix because of the malware event. Why the hell does everybody think that this is the new norm?
It's not new norm. There is a lot of people who think that this is new normal because they spent 18 months at home and they got paid by the government. It's like, no, get over it. This is not the new norm. You go back to work.
Right.
And they're going to have
companies that could do it decided to do the work at home, depending on what field you're in. It was only this was supposed to be temporary shit, right?
I'm going to suggest to you that the new norm was a term that was thrown out by our media outlets throughout the whole pandemic. And what do you know? It caught on, and it's now applicable to all kinds of crap out there as an excuse. We always have to watch the words we use because look how it's getting adopted and how it's being used.
But there is some benefits that people who were forced to leave the office and go work from home. There were a few things, like for instance, I will just give the example of me. I used to try to beat the VP in. I had my office was right next to the vice president of our company. And I had a thing where I was like, I'm going to beat him into the office every day. And it started I don't think he knew I was doing it, but every time I would get to the office, I'm like, what time does this guy get in? I was leaving for the office earlier and earlier and earlier. Now that was a stupid thing because I was just trying to show face. I'm trying to grow with the company. So I wanted to be there early. Okay. But I was getting up every day at 5 and then I was getting up earlier at 4:30. Doing my stuff, getting out the door so that I could be at my desk at 7 a.m. I then did not leave my desk until I completed everything because my day is packed with meetings. So I would sometimes not be leaving until 7 o'clock at night, drive the 45 minutes home. I'm not walking in the door till almost 8 o'clock. I got to eat and then I got to go right to sleep because then I got to get up and try and do this all over again. So for me, when you look at my day starts at between 8 and 8:30. That's a huge difference when I'm not even having to do a 45-minute commute. I get up, I have my coffee with you, I enjoy the morning. I learned about cryptocurrency by taking YouTube University by sitting in my house. That's a huge benefit. Then I can come back and forth across the yard all day, do a load of laundry, make some food for dinner so that it was ready to go, so that at 5 o'clock when I shut it down, I was done for the day. That's a lot of time back in our life, and that's, I think when, again, Candace, I'm putting words in your mouth.
You're muted, Ryan.
I'm putting words in your mouth, but I think part of what you're saying is that there's some people that through the pandemic realize I'm okay to just have this be it because my life has changed. My lifestyle has changed a little bit.
But the people whose lifestyle has changed a little bit tends to be people on the latter half of their time in the workforce. There's no scenario where a young person should be content to work at home, never leave there's no scenario. And I'll die on that hill. There's no scenario.
That's my daughter. She's climbing the corporate ladder and she's got anxiety.
Then maybe that's it. Is I'm not understanding how corporations then are shifting to this because Well, okay, so I will say this: like companies like Virgin in Ottawa, Mailchimp, all this, they've been from home for 10 years now. I mean, longer than I can even account for, right? I'm more thinking, I guess, like government. And maybe that's why I'm getting heated on this, because I'm thinking public service and entitlement and yada, yada, yada. Private sector works out its own problems. So I don't usually have an issue with private sector doing whatever private sector has to do. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, they're fired. That's private sector. It's amazing. So maybe I should specify then that maybe my frustration on this is coming more from those in the public sector. So, and to clarify my own bias in this then. Right now.
Well, and there's some jobs that just simply can't. Like Ken can't say, I think I'll work from home today. That just won't work for Ken.
I'll try that one.
Tim can't work from Tim can't.
Ken and I don't have that option.
Nope.
There are certain things that just can't, and there's certain things that just, but for those in sales, I will say this, because most salespeople, and Ryan, maybe I'm wrong about this, but most salespeople, the hours that they can see clients, so between 8:30 and 4:30, depending, is prime see client time, depending on what it is you're selling and who it is you're selling to. Let's even back it up and say 9 until 4 are prime selling time. But then there was chunks of time in before and after. There's so much prep that goes in before you go to a sales call that you could be getting up at 4 a.m. to start your day to get your prep done for your meetings, or you could be working late at night. Like Tim used to see me, I'd sit in bed at night. I would be up in bed with my laptop until midnight, trying to get things prepped up, trying to do special orders, trying to get all my sales done, my call list, my everything. Like it was intense. So if I had the option as a salesperson to work from home, I understand why they didn't want it, they would want to take advantage of that, because that 45 minutes either way into an office.
But a salesperson's paid on commission, right?
Yeah.
So they drive for free to work. Someone else who's paid on salary figures and factors that into the job before they even take the job. That's a fact, whether it's a psychological thing. The commission guy drives to work for free. The salaried person factors that into their day. They say that I make $100,000 a year and I work 10 hours. An hour of that both ways is driving. That's factored in mentally. So that is factored in when you're offered the wage, I believe, because of the old school thinking. And we've never encountered this before. So I just don't understand, if you are working remotely, how are you not expecting a 20% decrease in wage? And justified.
Well,
and I'm not talking executive level or sale, but I'm talking if you should be in the office. Like, I don't get it.
You open up a can of worms. I mean, not you, but a can of worms is opened up, because then it's like, okay, so since you're working at home, you don't get a T2200. No, you don't get to write off a new desk chair and all this and that, because it's at work for you. So why would we allow you to write that off and issue a T2200 when you're not required to supply it because it's at work for you?
Yeah, it's a complex.
It's a real rabbit hole.
It is a complex, and I can see multiple sides of the coin on this. Let's just say it was a really interesting article, and look at the debate it spawned on here, right?
And I hope people realize too that everyone in here is super friendly. I just happen to be more on the private sector side. And I know that I might disagree with, Candace has ideas, Ken has ideas, Tim and Nancy has ideas. It's all amazing. And this is a perfect debate. This is a perfect example of a really healthy debate, because this was one, I don't even know if we came to an answer or conclusion on it. We're just trying to figure out this problem, because I'm working my way through it, and I'm thinking, because I've only ever grown up, I've only been an employee for this amount of my life. The rest of my life, I worked with family business or had my own business. So I can only imagine what I would do in that scenario. So again, I'm coming across as biased. I know what my parents would do in that scenario. I'm coming across as biased. But then I learn about scenarios like your daughter, Nancy, and then MailChimp and Virgin, who's just working nonstop from home. They've been doing it forever, right? I trust the private sector. maybe the catalyst will be when people start taking away benefits, or when people start saying, okay, you want to work at home, we're going to truly knock down wage. Because I don't know what would be the trigger point for people to say like, whoa, maybe I can't screw with my boss. Because like Nancy, I don't know if you want to say it live or not, but when it does happen that one of your employees tells you no, I'd love to hear their reasoning for it. Like, and I mean, genuinely, even if it's offline, I'd love to hear their reasoning.
The thing is that I didn't tell any of mine. I told them it was all remote. You do what you want to do.
That's your specific profession.
It was actually my choice.
But you're in sales, right?
Right, but I have some support team that works for me. I have an innovation team that works for me. I've got dietitians that work for me. I've got a whole bunch of different people that work for me. And I have 65 employees that work for me. So I told them all, you choose. I put you down as virtual, but if you want a desk, we'll make room for you at the office. And they all...
Just, don't you feel like ripped off as a business owner? Okay, in that you're paying for a building and infrastructure that's now being used and abused. The community is not respected. The community of your workforce, which is a foundation of every workforce or of every like corporation. It's the community built around it, right? So it's like the community is destroyed. Your infrastructure is useless. You're tied to a 10 to 20 year lease, and everyone is taking a shit on you when you're asking them to come back to work for their paycheck. Again, maybe I'm so stuck in this one area that maybe one of you guys needs to rescue me and call me a friggin' idiot, but I can't get my mind off of the abuse that the employer is facing at this exact moment.
Well, the only abuse I can see is that there is some question as to, and we're all guilty of it on this call, I will say this as well, is we talk about make sure you've got a side hustle, right? Everybody should have some kind of a side hustle. So we've got this fun little YouTube channel. That's, clearly what we do. That doesn't make us any money. It doesn't make us any money. However, it is our side hustle. But we found that this is one of the concerns is that people take their side hustle, so they practically got 2 full-time jobs going on. Do you know what I mean?
They master their side hustle.
Well, do you guys not remember that news article about that guy who fired his like half the staff over Zoom? Like he got fired himself, that CEO in the United States. He was, oh, you're a big, big time dickhead, right? Fine. But you know what he told him? He said, you're all lazy. And they're all at-home workers, by the way. I'm not agreeing with how this guy did this situation, but the facts and numbers that he presented, which was not covered in the news, spoke for themselves. He said very rudely, you're all lazy, statistics prove it. And then the analytics, because they can tell when you're online on your company server, right? So the analytics prove that when you're being paid for your 8 hours and you're only putting in 2.5 to 4, what the hell? And then Eric, I get this, and I'm not knocking you, Eric, but he said, I'd rather work at home if I had kids. As an employer, are you even working at home if you have kids? And I mean that because kids are a job in themselves. So it's like if you're being paid 8 hours, but showing that you can actually get the job done in 4 is not the worst thing for you, because then I'm going to only pay you 4.
Okay, here's another way to look at it. And I believe that this conversation has nothing to do with hours and pay. It has everything to do with leadership. And here's the thing. I told my team, I have a job that I require you to do. I actually don't care when you do it. If you are productive from 4 a.m. to this time and you need to take a chunk of time off during the day because you got something else to do, as long as you tell me so that I know why you're not at a meeting or whatever, but as long as you get the job done, then, and I make it fun and exciting, and I really foster people's personal growth and development. I think I do a fairly good job of that.
Nancy, you're nailing it. I mean, you're talking about piecework, but the problem is the employer didn't sign up for that when they hired the person in the first place.
No. But hear me out for a second. So when you do stuff like this, I believe my team gives me more than I pay for because I trust them to get the job done. They're having fun and they're engaged, and I make sure I'm engaged in their personal growth and development, and I try to get them where they want to go as a human being. And if I do those things right, then they're going to give me more than my company expects. It's the same with my boss, is the same with me. He doesn't really have me give him every minute of the day what I'm doing, but he expects that I get my things
But
done.
what if then
And
the companies come out with further reports and studies that say that the most efficient work day is actually, in fact, only 6 hours?
Then
No. But then it means everyone at home. But
6
then,
hours.
yeah, but then it means everyone who's at home and not actually clocking in. Anyone who's at home forever will be paid on a 6-hour salary-based 5-day schedule. So it's like that's the next step. So people keep trying to get an edge up on the employer, and they don't realize employees don't win. It's like trying to beat the casino. Get over it.
Billable
Employees
hours
lose every time.
Billable hours. Yep.
And if you don't like it, you start your own business. But
I don't know,
exactly it, Ken.
I think there's a little bit of truth to that, and I think that there's also a little bit of truth to what I'm saying. Is that you know, I used to work best on Sunday. I enjoy working on Sunday because I could spend the time quietly reading through everything and getting everything I need done and prepared for the week. So if I cut out earlier on a Friday, I never felt guilty about that because I was giving them a good giant chunk of time on Sunday. And what difference does it make to my company whether I'm doing it on Sunday or I'm doing it on Friday afternoon? What difference does it make?
It shouldn't, but the point is that your company's okay with that, right? Because all the people now who are, I love you, bud. All the people now who are demanding X, Y, and Z didn't sign their employment contract like that. So now your severance is at risk and all of this stuff because these measures that you're banking on were temporary in the legal sense. So it's like, I think that everyone here begging for the ideal situation, they're going to be the ones who lose all day. The people who can adopt 2019 life, they win.
Brian, or the other thing that can happen in this situation is the world changes. Because I've often thought, and I'm not a boomer, contrary to this, I am not a boomer. I am actually the next one, the Gen X.
Gen X.
I'm the Gen X, and so I often look at the millennials. There's some frustration, but there's also some things that I ask myself, but maybe they have it figured out. Maybe I've hitched my wagon to the wrong plan here. And so I look at it and go, okay, but is there something that can be learned from that generation? Like they're not willing to sacrifice everything for what the boomers were willing to sacrifice because maybe it's not as important to them. And maybe the world needs to change. So we're putting old ideology.
So you're saying mediocre is now okay?
Yeah, no, Nancy,
let me tell you how the world's going to change.
Hard times create weak men. Weak men create hard times.
Yeah, I've been trying for about half an hour to say this. So where this is all going is that you're going to be doing both at the same time. You're not actually going into your office. Companies right now like Microsoft are developing virtual workspaces for the metaverse. So you will eventually all be working at home, but you're going to be in a metaverse. You're going to have an Oculus on. People will still be able to interact with you just like you're in a real office. They'll still be able to keep track of you. They'll still be able to watch
you. They totally will not do that from home. Like that's the misconception entirely. No.
I think they will.
Facebook already has people working in the metaverse right now. There's videos on YouTube. I've watched one. So Candace, I'm not knocking you, but these Facebook meta people who are in the metaverse are not at home. They're not at home. They're in the office.
Well, yeah, here's the thing. If everybody's going to do this at home, then you don't have to pay for an office. So that it just makes sense.
Yeah, okay. That is you're 100% right. But then what, and you're 100% right, because in a perfect world, I agree 100% with Candace. Where the frig what the hell do we do with our office space?
We need housing.
No. Okay, so what's that infrastructure shift going to take? Because I've already gone into this too. Pierre Poilievre talks, I love it. That's 7 to 15 years out. If we even start planning for that, okay? It ain't happening. It ain't happening until I'm your age. So let's honestly, No, sir, guys, it takes
We're
Ottawa.
giving eye.
Let's think about it, guys. It takes Ottawa 10 years to build a train that goes like 3 kilometers, right? Like we have buildings that require rent and they have 20-year leases. This isn't changing overnight. Like, I agree with Candace. I just think that Candace and I will be dead when that happens. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but I mean, like, think about it. I mean that seriously. Like, I can't see people being like the Ready Player One status while I'm alive. Because right now we still have to satisfy the infrastructure in place that's already been paid for 5 to 10 years ago. Like, even more for some of these big tech companies. You have to think about, like, for instance, how much money did Facebook spend on their entire complex in California, which wasn't that long ago. Okay, hundreds of millions of dollars. So it's garbage. Like, it's garbage. And this is the thing. These complexes are not designed at all for shelter. Amazon tried to turn their HQ into homeless shelter, okay? You can Google this too. They had a bitch of a time. They could only convert a little bit of it, and it's helping some homeless, but it took forever. Like, I love talking about ideas when I'm going to be dead. This is why I love Star Trek, but it's like,
well,
I
and
can't see this
that's why we're
happening.
using the word future. You're right. It's not going to happen. Like, it's not going to happen this year, but it's a longer term goal.
And in that, Candace, I can honestly say, because people think we disagree a lot. Me and Candace probably agree 100%. Where me and Candace disagree is just on our timelines. Like, we see the same thing happening at the end of the day. We just have different timelines for it. And it's like, that's the only thing.
I'm just wondering, the people that don't want to work, where they're getting this money for all this gear to be into the metaverse and pay for the internet and everything to be in the metaverse.
Probably.
We're watching Twitch create millionaires who sit there and yank their chain all day and play Call of Duty. Like, I don't even want to get into
back to their parents, though, right?
No, you want to hear something disgusting? So I haven't done a market close live stream in like 5 days. I was really busy with my other side hustle, the car thing, returning some deals or whatever, right? So I'm like, okay, rocking and rolling with this. And I got like 4 or 5 deals out of this, right? And I know people on my channel are like, you're lazy, you don't do streams every day. It's like, fuck, I got a life. I mean, I got to put some green in my pocket too, right? I turned over 4 deals in a matter of 4 days. Everyone on their goddamn floor. And I made more on YouTube not working. I'm not kidding with you. When people are like, oh, how are you, like, how does this even happen? It's like, I don't know. I have no idea, because I'm not even making videos. So it's like, you have to think like young people and the new world that we're about to experience. You're right, Candace. I probably actually can't wrap my head around it. I don't even know how I make money on this stupid thing. I have no idea how I'm even still sustainable. Seriously, like, no idea. So it's like, it's just a new world that I don't get.
You're lucky there. That's what's doing it.
Well, because it's like the referrals aren't even, I don't know what it is. But think about it. I only have 13,000 subs. You got these gamers who are doing this part-time on Twitch and getting donations 24/7. Look at you, Candace. You're creeping and crawling to 1,000. You'll know what I'm talking about pretty freaking soon. And it's like,
It'll be 1,000 before Tim and I.
That's not funny.
no, you want to know why it's not funny? This is why it's not funny. I know you guys want to shoot me in the head for this. Candace makes videos.
I know.
I told you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. Anyways, at the end of the day, I think that somebody posted it here in the chat a few minutes ago that we're just at a turning point. We're in the middle of a bunch of major tipping points. That's all there is to it. And then you add in the economy into here, whether inflation's going to turn into stagflation, whether we see a recession or a depression. If we actually get to that depressive state, which is a scary, scary thought, you may see the job market turn on its head again. Because right now it's an employees market. The employers are struggling to get. But if this all happens, it could be an employer's market again, and then we're picking the best talent to move forward. Don't know what everybody else is going to do. But then I also believe that the price of houses will go back to some form of
They will. They'll
normal
go back to market adjusted values. It is so perfect how our real estate cycle works. It's almost amazing. Can I put this out there too? You guys know I'm freakishly obsessed with Elon Musk, and yet I'm not invested in his company. Okay, someone pointed it out. I can't do it. I don't know why. It's overvalued, and I don't think like that, Kat. I think I drink too much. But there's one thing about I could never be like that, Kat. There's one thing about Elon. Sorry, what the. That totally caught me off guard. What were you just saying?
Oh, you said it, not us. You did
No, the comment. I was reading the comment. It threw me off guard. What were you just saying just before this? The thought fleeted my mind.
I don't know, because I was waiting to hear.
Damn it, guys. We were talking. I literally have this thing. I cannot remember anything we were just talking
While
about.
you're thinking, Candace, what were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say, if things got really, really bad, it means that my Saturday night stream is going to be called Candace the Barbarian. And on tonight's episode, I'll go up some food.
My God, Candace, it should be called that.
Candace the
love that
Barbarian.
name. Oh, that's a funny name.
Candace, I thought you were going to say Candace the Barbarian, and you'd be going out clubbing strangers on the street and dragging them home, and you and Jill would be butchering them, sort of cannibalistic
You just
style.
took this kind of dark.
Hey, that only goes on Friday and Saturday night shows, yo.
I know. Well,
That's
I
taboo.
don't know. I've often wondered, like, if you were ever stuck and you were like really in a situation, and like say you were stuck on a mountain and you had to eat your party, like to stay alive. Like, could you do that?
To stay alive, we could all do it, but we wouldn't want to do it
for 21 days. So you don't have to worry about me until day 22.
Okay.
Then I'm sort of wondering, like, what do you eat first? Like, do you eat an arm? Do you eat a leg?
See the movie
Like,
Alive, you eat the butt.
Honestly, you know what you go for first, just to get the bit of protein so that the person can survive after the fact? You start eating the chicken wings of humans. You start going after the fingers, okay? And then once you give that a few days, if you're still working on it, whoever's missing fingers, well, tough luck, your lunch. But I'd go for the fingers first, and then at least give the other person a chance. If you go for their leg, they're dead. You're gonna kill them right away. Why are we talking about eating people?
If there was all kinds of, do you go for, if you had to like do somebody away, do you go for the youngest?
What?
Do you go for the less? Do you go for the oldest guy? Like, how do you determine who?
You just eat the last person who died.
Yeah, you just wait for the person to die.
Or you wait for somebody to die.
You don't actually kill someone and eat them. You wait
You
for them
don't
to do it.
sacrifice them.
There's
What
not a
the hell,
sacrifice.
Nancy's thinking about okay, get this. We're all on a plane. Plane crashes. 30 seconds later, Nancy's figuring out who we're going to team up on and kill. So let's put it this way. Nancy's the one we team up on.
To eat a dead person's one thing, but if you murder them, that's still murder. That's still punishable by law.
But
If you
isn't
survive
there
the
something
mountain.
weird about eating a dead person? Like they've
Yeah,
just
why are we talking about it?
Hey Tim,
This is
one eye open tonight, buddy. One eye open.
Well, look what's happened so far.
no.
That's a nibble. Come on, she's just a little hungry.
Eric,
Wait.
Eric Mittens cracked me up. If you're gonna eat your friends, you should do it quickly. Don't want them to lose body mass due to starvation. This is what I'm wondering. See, Eric's on the same train as me. We don't want it. Okay, everybody's been starving for 30, 60 days. Let's assume they can get past Candace's 21 days of fasting.
Are we
So
thinking we
then
have
everybody
knives?
lost their fat.
Like, yeah, but do we have knives or swords, or are we just killing
Jesus.
someone and eating their legs? Like,
No,
I
we could
mean,
use
what
a
kind of
piece of the
scenario are you
wreckage from the
planting here?
plane.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, Candace is right. We use wreckage from the plane.
Oh,
You can
fudge.
start to slash, or just make a big enough fire and put the whole thing in. Like
Well,
you roast
obviously,
a pig.
if we're in the Arctic, I mean, we can freeze a lot of it, so we could cut them all up into steaks and just pack them away.
Yeah,
and
but then we're going to
divvy
be
them out.
fighting with polar bears over our dead friends' legs. I'm not even in the mood for this. This
Crash
combo's
in
out
the
of
mountains
control.
in Chile.
Eddie, run.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, save
I'll
the
do
dog.
this.
Save
We-
the dog, but eat the people.
No, we
Ryan
crashed
will
the
just be
plane.
sitting on top of the wreckage of the plane trying to get a signal for skip the dishes.
100%. Like, you
Okay. Okay, Ken, you need to do me a
Stay in your car.
favor.
I'll come to you.
Ken, you need to do me a favor. Will you do me a favor?
Depends what it is. I'm not
Will
sending my
you?
finger.
Will you pose this question to Andrew
Oh, Jesus.
on Friday night? Because I really, really, really want to know what Andrew would do.
I'm afraid of the answer, to be honest.
No, he will think about it. He will think about it. He'll be like, and then he'll come back, and then he'll leave the show, and then he'll come back on saying, "Oh, I've thought about something different." Then he'll
Hey,
come
you know
back
what?
again.
I hate to say it, but I think Andrew's answer will be more sane than Nancy's.
I
Yeah,
do.
probably.
Probably.
Well, I didn't think it all the way through. I'm not sure.
Oh, this is who we want to be in charge of the party of eating people.
I
not
didn't
people
say
chip
we
through.
should make me in charge of it. I'm just saying, how would we? I was sort of with Eric Mittens. If everybody starves, there's nothing left. There's no meat on the bone.
This is why a democracy is amazing, because each of us has amazing opinions. But if we were left to our own devices, we're going to start eating people, and I'm going to fire the whole planet. Who knows what Ken's going to do? And then Candace, you don't know who knows. This is
As
why
long as we've got
democracy-
XRP that's got payment rails going back and
But
forth,
if
we're
we're
fine.
on the top of a mountain and we're eating people, is that considered working at home?
Oh, I missed the dad jokes.
Anyways, on that note, I think we should probably cut it from there. Cut it from there.
Violence.
Candace, thank you so much for the metaverse stuff yet again, Mountain Finance. I know you've probably got at least 2 or 3 more videos coming out this week.
Yeah.
And who have you got on your Saturday night stream?
Well, I got me.
She does the news updates on Saturday now.
Oh,
Yeah,
news
she's-
update. That's
Yeah.
right.
It is changing a little bit this Saturday. I'm not doing one topic because, like last week, I did one topic and it just didn't have enough steam, I think, to carry an hour. So I'm probably going to do multiple topics each week. Tomorrow, my video at 11 a.m. is all about RioCan. So if you like RioCan, that's one to check out.
It's my favorite stock of all time.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Guy below you, Ryan, you got
I don't have any more of my cars stuff to do this week, so my schedule is back to the regs. And I don't know, we had a pretty rocking and rolling live stream today.
You
So I
did.
want to keep, and we had a lot of good info today. So I want to keep the energy right up. So simple as
That's
that.
awesome. And Ken, you got a couple of 3, 4 live streams this weekend.
3 tomorrow night, 7:30. I'm going to do a live stream about pre-sales, white lists, and private lists, and what they are and how to get in on them. And
It's
then
only
the
30
normal-
minutes until he throws the link out.
and then the normal. No, I won't be doing that.
I'm
tomorrow night.
joking.
And then the normal Friday, Saturday. Who knows? Maybe Danny DeVito will show up, or Sean Penn, or
Oh my
Pee-wee
goodness.
Herman, or
That was very
Andrew
funny,
Dupree, I don't know.
actually. That was very funny. But you please promise, because we do watch. We always watch,
Well,
sometimes
Nancy, we'll
not
have to-
live.
We'll have to click in on the link and ask
Yeah.
yourself.
yeah, you'll have to come on and say, hey,
But we're
Andrew.
in vacation mode. We might be, I don't know,
Well,
might
just
be eating fish.
drop in, and then put the question in the chat and hang out for 10 minutes to see what he says.
There you go.
But he doesn't ever come on until like all hours of the night. I feel like you have to be up at midnight and then Andrew appears.
No, he comes on earlier now because my brother's on. So
Oh boy. Oh boy. And all right, well, we really, really, really appreciate you guys yet again taking your time with us. Next week, I will still be in Florida, and Tim will be doing Crypto Night in Canada from Kitchener. And we really appreciate everybody hanging in. Mr. Red Taco, Cannabis Driver, Sophie, MC, everybody that was here, Jason Spooner, Eric Mittens. I'm gonna forget somebody, and I don't want to. Chris, thank you for participating and hanging out with us. I said MC. I said everybody. I'm sorry if I missed somebody.
Say goodnight, Dick.
Good night, Dick.